So today we're going to be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. Now on to episode 20 of the series, we're moving right along, and if you haven't seen the live stream for this series, make sure to go check it out, because otherwise this map is going to make no sense. A lot of things happened in that live stream, and we are now to the point where there's a few large empires. I'm just kidding, this is not what happened in the live stream. I mean, it is to an extent, but we're right where we left off in the last episode. But if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. All of that support is greatly appreciated. We just hit 150,000 subscribers. We're kind of aiming for 200k by the end of the year, although that looks a little unrealistic at this point. If we can get there, that would be awesome. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump straight into the scenario. So in that live stream that I was just talking about, we added in a lot of things, and one of those things were provinces. So now a majority of the countries in the world have provinces, and as you can see, there are a few like random things scattered about. That is just from people who donated and asked for specific provinces. Like for an example, there's a Nevada province in China. There's also an L province in the dark cyan country, and a star-shaped province in the purple country. I'm thinking about maybe doing another live stream where I finish all this, so do let me know if you want to see another one of those. But another map that we made in the live stream was a religion map, and as you can see, there are a lot of religions in the world at this point, and the lighter colors are branches of religion. So there is a red religion, green, purple, yellow, blue, and these are not like connected to the colors of the countries. Like this red religion doesn't necessarily stem from the red team, it's just the colors that I had to use for the different areas. And then another thing we did was add in major cities. So there are now a lot of major cities on the map. We can see them all, and these will all be very important for when we do wars and stuff. But as for now, let's just go ahead and start with another war. And the first war happening is actually going to be in the British Isles. That's right, we're starting with our Daily Britain update today. And it is between the red team and the orange team over a dispute politically. The leader of the orange team insulted the red team so bad that they are now going to war over it. We're still not over the age of invading countries for random reasons. That is still continuing on, and this is one of those reasons. So lesson learned here for the orange team: in the future, if you ever reappear, do not insult the red team, because they will invade you and they will win. So the red team easily takes out the orange team. The red team is not a top 10 power, but they are definitely up there. I'm not sure how realistic it is considering that they rule the bogs of Ireland, but we're rolling with it. Alright, so in this peace treaty here, we can see that the red team takes a big chunk out of the orange team, and now I'm going to break down how the provinces and major city things help. So if we get rid of the capitals real quick and take a look at the major cities, we can see there are two major cities that were in the orange team, one of them being their previous capital, and one of them being in this over here. So with the major cities, we can see that the orange team has lost their capital. They need a new capital. Hey, there's a major city up here, and guess what? They moved their capital over there. So their capital is now up north there. Their previous capital was sieged by the red team, and it is now a major city of the red team. Now we're looking at provinces. We can see exactly which provinces the red team took from the orange team, and it was a lot. They took a whole bunch, as you can see here. These all used to be orange, now they're red. And the orange team is left to about 3, 4, maybe 5 provinces up north. So that's how the provinces will help shape the borders of this series. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense for you guys. And now we're gonna go ahead and move over to East Asia. And over here in East Asia, we have the continued collaboration between the new country, which is red, and the Chinese country over here. I'm not really sure what to call these guys. Looking at the religion map real quick, we can see that these guys do subscribe to their own religion. It is not a branch of anyone else. It's kind of a mixture between the red and the blue, but it's different in its own way, so it gets its own color. Anyway, with the diplomacy thing, we're looking at trade routes. As we know, a major goal of the red team is for them to have the trade routes of Asia run through their capital. This will help grow their economy greatly and make them a power in their region. However, they can't do it on their own because they are a fairly new and weak country, so they get the help of other countries around them, this time being the Chinese country, to build the routes through their country. And this could also help the Chinese country in terms of them, I guess, having ownership of the trade route and taking money from the red team in a way, like kind of a tariff / tax. So they're on board with this, and it would also help divert trade toward their capital. So they start working on this trade route. The red team, of course, has to help as well, so they will start building it within their country. And they're also able to work with other countries, specifically the green team, who starts building a trade route up to the border of the brown country. And that is until they reach an issue, which is the fact that the brown country will not cooperate with the green team because of, you know, the issues that these four have with each other. So that plan for now is temporarily blocked, but the construction of the trade route will continue for the next couple of episodes. Up north, collaboration happens as they move into the capital of the gold country, and the lime team does not budge on any plan. So yeah, this is where we're at with trade routes for now, but there is a big plan in place. Now we're going to hop across the sea over to North America, where we have more and more discoveries taking place as the explorers now move into Mexico and discover the entire country, or what would be country. And a collaborative effort is made by all of the colonizers to explore through Central America and Northern South America. At this point, almost all of North America is discovered and charted. However, the colder areas do give them some trouble, and this whole event is sort of delayed for a little bit. We're getting to the point now where climate and geography aren't too much of a challenge for the human race, but in some areas it's still just kind of hard and unnecessary to go through. But with pretty much all of North America discovered now, guess what? The brown team is going to continue to expand their colony. They now move into Louisiana and other areas and down into Texas, reaching across into Mexico. Right now, their main goal is taking over coastal areas because obviously there is a benefit to having a coast. You have the big ocean to trade across, and all the other benefits that come from having ocean access. There's a lot, trust me. They set up another colony, this time in the Yucatan Peninsula. Up north, the green team expands their colony, going into what is now Canada, and over up into where the cyan team is. But they go ahead and expand their colony as well, taking over the rest of this area, and then moving up into what is Quebec. So a lot of colonization is happening in this episode, which is to be expected. And that's because, of course, the age of colonization is almost at its peak. It will be at its peak in a few episodes when Africa looks totally different and filled in. But for now, we're just focusing in on North America. So there is an extent to which I try to base this series off of real life. But at this point in whatever year it is, which is probably like 1670s, the world looks totally different. I'm going to pull up a map real quick just to kind of look at it. There were definitely a lot less countries around. North America was not as explored. I mean, technically in this scenario, this land isn't actual colony, it's just claims. The actual colony of the brown team would look something like this, but they claim all of this. And the same thing for Korea, their colony does not look exactly like this. It's probably more so something like that. So it's important to point that out. Central Asia in 1670 still wasn't explored or colonized. Africa wasn't either. But South America definitely had a few more colonies in it. So, I mean, I'm not completely off. I wasn't basing it off of it before. I was just kind of guessing, and I've done a pretty good job so far. But there were a lot less countries at this point, but it doesn't matter. This is a fictional series, so who cares? In South America, the blue team will expand their colony a little bit more, going across what is the northern coast of Brazil. Additionally, more of the coast of Brazil is explored and discovered. However, the Amazon rainforest, which isn't over here, but over here, does pose as a challenge to what would be explorers who were kind of turned away by the monster that is the Amazon. Is it as bad as Vietnam though? Like, what would be worse, invading the Amazon or invading the jungles in Vietnam? I think the Amazon would probably be a lot worse, but I've never been to either of those places, so I don't know. Anyway, now back to Europe. We have the Norwegian country finally colonizing these islands up here, and the dark cyan team takes over these islands. The teal team will grab these ones. But now over to the dark gray team. These guys are cooking something up. Remember, they rebelled away from the yellow team in what was a crazy revolution, and they were born from the help of the gold team, who funded their rebellion, and the yellow team, which was once one of the larger and stronger countries in the world, just fell apart. Yeah, we all remember that, right? I don't need to go into detail, but the main point is these guys are doing something interesting. They're not a very powerful country. They don't have much people living there, but they do have a very strong leader. And that strong leader has a vision. And that vision is having a very large country. Kind of ironic considering they just broke away from a very large country. They really weren't about that whole big country thing. But hey, the people love them. And what do we know about leaders historically who are very popular and powerful? They tend to do not great things. And yeah, these guys are going to invade the great country with maybe military support from other countries. Will invade the blue country and easily take them out in a war. It is full annexation for them, so they do not survive. But from here, the gray country will start to expand into what is explored but uncolonized land. Nobody's living out here, no one claims it, so the gray team will start to claim it very rapidly. And eventually, the gray team looks something like this. Very large. Now, of course, it isn't the strongest of countries. It's not the most stable of countries, but the dictator, whoops, it slipped out. But the leader of this country will start to move his population inward, not like fully to the point where it's like mass migration, but he'll start, like, you know, pushing people out there so that his country is more evenly populated. And of course, this takes months and years to do, but on a smaller time scale for the sake of the video, it happens. We also see a lot of people from Europe moving to this country. That's how strong this leader is. He is very influential. People love him. It is, yeah, he's on that level. A lot of countries don't like this, that their population numbers are decreasing due to this guy. So he's not going to have a lot of friends. In fact, the gold team, who was supplying him and, you know, even helped him overthrow his previous country, all of a sudden doesn't like them and they become enemies. They're not going to fight, but they just don't like each other. And the same can be said for all of these rebellions that broke away from the yellow team. Even their surrounding neighbors do not like them, so these guys are very unpopular. But with the growing numbers in population and the growing support from within, these guys are going to go on a military conquest against the pink team. They start by first invading into their westernmost province. They easily take it out as not a lot of military assets were stationed here. From here, they start to move in towards their major city, which is right along the border, and eventually they start to encircle it and surround it. I think I just heard a cat get killed by something. I don't know what that was. Anyway, elsewhere, another major push happens and an encirclement is made. However, there is once again no one there, so they just take it. And they start to seep down in towards the capital area of the pink team. This major city is eventually sieged by the gray team. And all across their border, military troops start moving into the country in hopes of capturing as many provinces as possible. Do let me know if you guys prefer looking at provinces instead of just the color, because I mean, I think it makes it a lot more interesting. I will start doing it, but if you guys don't like it, then I won't do it. But as for now, whenever we do wars, we're gonna look at provinces. They beat down with the border of the gold team and do another encirclement. This time there are military assets here and they unfortunately pass away. I don't know if that's really unfortunate. I mean, I don't have feelings for these countries, so I mean, whatever. But the gray team's conquest continues on until eventually they encircle the capital area of the pink team, and eventually they will surrender their country. So now we can go ahead and take a look at a peace treaty. And in this peace treaty here, we can see the pink team has been hurt a lot, pretty badly. Looking at the provinces map, we see which provinces the gray team took. If you don't remember, then just go back in the video because I can't undo it, you know. But of course, they got a major city of it. You can even see the outline of the other country that they just took over not too long ago, which is kind of sad. Anyway, this is their updated border. And the gray country is coming right along in terms of its plan of becoming very large. Now, it's not too realistic for these guys to be expanding this rapidly, but you can kind of get the sense of what they're becoming. And yeah, they're going huge. They're moving right across Russia, and eventually they go up north and meet up with whatever this thing is. Bay, harbor, lake, ocean. Whatever you weirdos want to call it, it's fine. And yeah, they're going to stop there before they implode because that's an unhealthy amount of expanding in a very short amount of time. But their growing does inspire other countries to go ahead and do the same. This red country up here will go ahead and push all the way up and start taking over the coastal areas of Russia. That looks pretty good. And yeah, the map is becoming very filled in. Over in Central Asia, we will see the lime country and the red country come together. They make an agreement to, I guess, go across the plateau area of China in order to secure a border. The brown team is also in on it, so we can get this thing nice and filled in. But this is what their agreement looks like. It looks horrible. However, I think it will add some spice to this map because in some areas, as you can see, it's a little round. Not a big fan of that. So hopefully this will spice it up, but there is a twist to this. I'll get to that in a second. Let's go ahead and fill in the rest of this so we can see what their new land looks like. Something like that. I'm actually okay with that. That doesn't look horrible. Maybe. Let's do something like that, maybe? Okay, that's better. And then maybe something like that. There we go. But like I said, there was an issue with this new land draw out, and that is an overlapping claim between two countries, this case being the red and the brown team. I just realized that's extremely convenient for what might happen. I didn't plan it out, I swear. But they do have an overlapping claim. The red team claims that they had this area as their own in the treaty, whereas the brown team says otherwise, and in a way kind of doubles down on it and says, hey, we actually have this claim, so the lime team agrees with neither. They say they want nothing to do with it, so nothing to do with it they will, and these two are going to beef with each other. They're both fairly new, so of course a war isn't too likely, but it's something that we can come back to in later episodes. Now over to the Horn of Africa. We have a war breaking out here. It's between the brown team and the teal team. These guys have beefed in the past, and the beef has started back up again, but this time the brown team absolutely, I'm just making up words. They just absolutely decimate these guys. There's no chance. Of course, there's no need to show the provinces, right? We're gonna look at them anyway because they're kind of cool to look at. Oh wait, there is no provinces in this region. That's why we might need a part 2 for the stream. Maybe. Do you guys want to see a part 2? Let me know. If not, I'll do it on my own time. But the brown team completely annexes these guys, and they're definitely one of the more powerful countries in Africa. The only issue is they're kind of cut off from the rest of the world, so their main trading partner is, of course, the Lime team. And we know the influence the Lime team has. It's all over the place. Speaking of said influence, over here in Malaysia, they're going to go ahead and move up to the border of Vietnam, which scares Vietnam. So Vietnam will go ahead and move down to their border instead. I don't really know if that's a flex, but they might think it is. The Lime team is dead set on expanding their colonies and staying as one of the most powerful countries in the world. I mean, they are the most powerful country, so they want to keep that status. Meanwhile, the Grey team is becoming increasingly popular. More and more people are moving there because of their leader. And of course, with more people moving to your country, you need to build bigger cities. So these guys build a major city all the way out here and tell people to move there. That is their plan, and it might work. Who knows? They also built another one over here. And more people are flooding over here. Even people from Central Asia are moving up to this country, and that really makes some of these Central Asian countries mad. So they will try to adopt a similar strategy of this Grey team and just, move into this new area and promise that, there's a lot of land here, will be strong leaders, and they're just trying their best to mimic the Grey team. But as we know, history isn't fair, and their attempts at this are unsuccessful, of course. Their leaders aren't strong. In fact, their leaders are fairly unpopular in this area. So what actually ends up happening is just them making their countries more and more unstable and lessening their grip and control over their people. Lesson learned: do not try to do what the Grey team is doing. With that being said, the pink team will go ahead and move up a little bit. It's okay, they have a peace treaty with the Grey team. It's not like there was going to be any repercussions for this. Now over to East Asia, where we have an event occurring, and this event is the Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Hold on now, not realistically, because if that happens in real life, we're all screwed. But China will take over Taiwan in this scenario, and finally, there's going to be colonized Taiwan. It's been bare for too long. I feel like Taiwan would have been colonized a long time by now, but it's finally happened, so yay. Now we're going to take a look at Japan. What's happening in Japan? Oh, okay, there was a schism. Interesting. Japan split into two. Now the reason they split into two is just because of differing political opinions, and surprisingly, the main government was okay with this. They just allowed it to happen. So these two peacefully split apart and they start to engage in positive, friendly diplomatic relations with each other. And yeah, so that's that. Of course, the loss is pretty bad for the northern government, but it's better than fighting a war that they would probably lose. And if they did lose it, they would end up losing their entire country. So this was the best possible outcome for both areas. But the rest of Japan is warring. The green Japanese isle will attack the orange one, surprisingly. And they end up doing a lot of damage, which scares the orange team into accepting a peace treaty way too early. Their leader got extremely scared. Yeah, he definitely could have fought back and pushed them off, but he just gave up way too early. Even the green team is surprised by this, but hey, free land, right? So they take a big chunk out of the orange team, and it looks horrible. And over time, this will lead to the declaration of independence from the southern part of the orange country. The leader, once again being a coward, will go ahead and accept their declaration because they do not want to throw hands with themselves. Also, that war would be extremely hard to fight. So they just go ahead and spit it out and it becomes its own country. I guess that's our daily Japan update. I don't think there's going to be daily updates for Japan, but hey, something interesting happened here, so that's cool. Now over to Europe, we have a very interesting event happening. Now this is something that hasn't happened before, but it's something that I talked about in the live stream, and it's also something I might have teased in the previous episode. But we have a union taking place, and this union will be between two northern Italy countries, being the light blue team and the lime team. Now these are very historic areas, and taking a look at the province map real quick, I want to bring something up that I talked about in the live stream. Usually the areas with the smaller provinces means that there's more history there. And then the newer areas, like up here, have larger provinces. It's also kind of like a telling of population density, so the more people living there, the smaller the provinces, and the less people living there, the larger the provinces. There's been a lot of countries in the Middle East, and over the years, they've all made their own provinces. They've divided up provinces, created new ones. So there's going to be a lot more of them. Whereas in other areas, like in Iberia, the provinces are a lot larger. And then if we get over to Central Asia, they're huge. And that's for the two reasons: not a lot of history and not a lot of population. But now back over to here, talking about that, we can see the purple team has a lot of provinces and all around from where they used to be. And that's of course because they are an old country. There's a lot of history in this area, so the provinces are fairly small. But aside from that point, the union, let's get to that. These two countries have very friendly leaders, and they're so friendly that they decide to make a country together. Now, what color does this light blue and lime make together? I I think it would be like a teal-ish color, like a dark aqua, like this. It would probably look like that, but maybe a little bit lighter. So this, yeah, that looks about right. So we're gonna go ahead and recolor both of these countries to this color. And now, whoa, what? Now we have the union complete. As for their capital, they decide to not use any of the old capitals and instead make a new one. It will be in this major city right here. So we can add that and then go ahead and downgrade both of these capitals to major cities. And there we go. We have a brand new country here in the middle of Europe, the union between the lime and the blue. They are the first country to kind of officially unionize, and the idea starts to spread across the world and it becomes very popular. So we'll see more of that in future episodes, but as for now, we're going to go ahead and end it here. So this was a very eventful episode, and that's mostly because of all the new things that have been added, like, for example, the provinces, and then the religion map, which is, I mean, I broke it down on the live stream. I'm not going to break it down here because it's just so much of it. But yeah, do let me know if you want to see another live stream. Of course, show support in this video for the next episode of What If Civilization Started Over. I'm really enjoying this series. I feel like we just hit kind of like the next step for it, and it feels a lot better and more fun to do now. So I'm super excited for that. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, if you did, show support. Greatly appreciated. 200K by the end of the year, maybe. And I will catch you guys in the next episode. And of course, thank you to all the super fans. This includes Mr. Bonk7, Patrick Clauser, Switzerland Lowell Productions, German Edits, Georgie Badev, Kylie Speaks Plays, HammerToad45, Connor the Gamer, Poland Country Ball, Yakko, Nevada Garbage Trucks, and DW Cool Dude. Once again, thank you guys.